everyone and good evening to dear Dr. Suliana and fellow friends. Today I'm going to present my case study about the impact of bilingualism or multilingualism across different language learning contexts. So, what is bilingualism and multilingualism? It is a study of the production, processing and comprehension of two or more languages respectively, which is self-evident from the prefixes bi and multi. So bi refers to two languages and multi refers to two or more languages. So for this task, I have chosen this particular YouTube video, which is an English lesson in a classroom in northern India. Hindi is the student's first language, which is L1, and the teacher and the English teacher uses English as the second language, L2, to introduce idioms, several idioms to her students. We're going to focus on language context, the learner context and learning context under the analysis and evaluation. So the first one is the language context of language learning. In the particular video that I chose for this task, it is a classroom in northern India. The linguistic environment in the classroom displays some significant key factors influencing second language L2 acquisition of the students, such as language distance, native language proficiency, and the third one is prior knowledge of the second language, the prior knowledge of the students of the second language. So the language distance is all about the objective measure which can be obtained by comparing features in two different languages, such as vocabulary, syntax, semantics, phonetic form or grammatical structures according to CIN 2022. So the language distance is considered to have a significant impact on the level of difficulty the learners face when learning a new language. Nishikawa, when is the 2016, said that acquiring the target language becomes more challenging for the student when the target language is more distant from the student's mother tongue. Like for example, if the further the target language is from the student's mother tongue, the harder the learner will find it hard to learn the language. For instance, how we can know certain languages are distant from another language? We identify it through focusing on the structure and lexical element of that particular language. So languages that are structurally and lexically distant from a learner's first language require more time and effort to acquire. For instance, in the video, the teacher introduced the idiom, give a big hand. When the teacher introduced the idiom, give a big hand, it showed how learning English can be tricky for students whose first language is Hindi. Let's see the example.
Yes? Yes, very good. Please give a big hand to these two girls. Big hand. Wait. I said give a started clapping. I said give a big hand. Yes, Madiha. I said give a big hand to Aman. Were you supposed to go and give the hand to that girl? When I said give a big hand, you all started clapping. What does it mean? Yes, Akif, you are smiling. Yes, come on, come on. When I said give a big hand, you all started clapping. Yes, yes. Okay, you don't know? No problem. When I said give a big hand, you all started clapping. You were absolutely right. Because give a big hand means clapping to give appreciation and to motivate the person.
So that's the example from the video. Since Hindi and English come from different language families, many English idioms don't have a direct translation in Hindi. This can lead to confusion where students try to literally give their hand when they heard the idiom for the first time. The students tend to do their own direct translation from English to their own mother tongue, which is Hindi. So they will end up interpreting the wrong meaning of that phrase. This shows how students often try to translate word to word from Hindi to English, which doesn't always work. To help, we can see that the teacher explains that give a big hand means to clap, making the meaning clear. This situation illustrates how greater linguistic distance requires additional instructional support from the teacher to help the students to grasp the figurative meanings in English. Next is native language proficiency. There's a situation where the teacher introduces the idiom apple of my eye, illustrates the role of native language proficiency in second language learning, particularly in understanding figurative language. So L1 literacy skills such as reading comprehension and metalinguistic awareness help those students understand meanings in L2 rather than relying solely on the direct translation from English to Hindi. For example, in this video, the teacher asks, when the teacher introduces the idiom for the first time, the teacher starts to ask, is there an apple in the eye? A student correctly responds that you are my dear, demonstrating an ability to grasp the figurative meaning of that idiom.
And Akif has got a prize. Akif went to home, and naturally if a child gets a prize, then mothers are usually happy or sad? Happy, of course, because the child has got a prize. Then the mother said, my son, you are the apple of my eye. What does it mean? Is there apple in the eye? Then what exactly mother wants to convey? What exactly mothers want to say? Yes, you try to make out the meaning. Mother is very happy. The child has got the prize. Then the mother said, you are the apple of my eye.
According to Anjareni and Hatmanto 2022, linking idioms to a student's first language can be an effective strategy for the students to understand the English idioms, especially for those who have a strong grasp of their L1, which is their mother tongue. Since Hindi also has many loads of idiomatic expressions, students who are proficient in their native language can draw parallels between Hindi and English. They can interconnect, they can recognize the patterns between both the languages, both the idiomatic expressions from both languages, and making them easier to decode unfamiliar phrases that they never heard. Therefore, the successful interpretation of Apple of My Eye highlights how a strong foundation in mother tongue literacy enhances a student's ability to comprehend complex L2 expressions, ultimately aiding in more effective second language acquisition. And the third is prior knowledge of the second language. This influences the pace and ease of learning. Some students may have been exposed to conversational English through various kind of media, social interactions with their people from their environment or informal learning environments. However, as seen in the video, students still struggle with academic English, requiring structured instructions to develop proficiency. For example, the teacher introduces the idiom in hot water. She asks students what happens when someone does not complete their homework or someone who is in trouble. We can see that one student correctly responds punishment, indicating an understanding of that concept of that idiom, but lacking the right vocabulary to articulate it in an idiomatic English. The teacher then guides the students to associate the idiom, the in hot water idiom, with being in trouble, helping them connect familiar concepts with new English expressions. Let's see the example.
If somebody doesn't do the assignment in your class, what does your teacher do with that child? Yes? You think of a job which is with child. Yes? Yes, come on. Punishment. Okay. Which type of punishment? Standing in the class. Okay. And even if she doesn't punish you, then also the man will be very angry. Huda has not completed the assignment. And then Huda is not going to get the grades for the assignment. You all get grades for the assignment, na? Then Huda will not get the grades. It means that Huda is now in the punishment. If Huda doesn't get the punishment, then Huda is now in hot water. Very good. Huda is in trouble. Very good. Huda is now in hot water.
So let's move on to the learner context of language learning. In this video, we can see identity and diverse needs, peer group motivation, and exposure at home that shape a student's ability to acquire and use of the second language. first is identity and diverse needs. As for the identity and diverse needs, the students in the video are young primary learners from a Hindi-speaking background, and their English proficiency varies varies according to each of the individual. We can see that some students really confidently interact with the teacher in the classroom using English, while others still struggle to understand even the basic instructions or express themselves in English. For example, the teacher introduces the idiom in hot water. We just saw the example. She asked students to infer its meaning. One student hesitantly replies punishment, correctly understanding the concept but lacking the exact idiomatic expression. Meanwhile, another student remains silent, showing uncertainty and the fear to answer some things, showing uncertainty in answering the question. The students seem to be in fear to answer that question. This highlights diverse cognitive abilities among the students, where some of the students have a real ability to grasp the information faster, while in comparison, other students need scaffolding and additional support to understand the meaning behind the phrases. And the teacher addresses those diverse needs through guided instruction. She provides hints and examples, asks leading questions, and encourages students to use idioms in sentences to reinforce comprehension. For example, when students struggle with the apple of my eye, the teacher breaks it down step by step, asking, is there an apple in the eye? This is called drip feed. According to table 2018, rather than simply trying to reinforce by repetition, the drip feed approach revisits the information in relevant context to support the integration of the learning into coherent schemes that broaden the students' understanding. This strategy helps students transition from literal to figurative thinking, supporting those who require additional cognitive support. Next, the second is peer group motivation. We can see that students have different motivations to learn English, affecting their engagement levels during the learning session. Some do actively participate in the class, answering questions, while others being hesitant or avoid speaking. For example, when the teacher asks students to create sentences using the idiom piece of cake, one student confidently says, "My homework is a piece of cake," showing an understanding of the phrase and its application.
A friend in hot water.
So why your friend is in hot water? What happened to your friend?
She was not completed her homework.
Okay, very good. So
This is the high motivation example for the idiom in the hot water.
hot water. It means you all understood the use of in hot water. Now, Fatma Usmani, can you make any sentence using this in hot water?
This is the student
You just give any
with
situation.
low motivation.
Something wrong have you done? Or you have not completed something? Then why are you in hot water?
We can see that the student is really hesitant to answer the teacher's question. So moving on to the third one, its exposure at home. According to Palermo 2013, having more exposure to English at home can make noticeable differences in how students perform in the classroom. In the video, you can see that students who often hear or use English through various media respond more quickly and accurately. For example, during a sentence construction activity, some students easily form correct sentences, while others really struggle with arranging words or choosing the right vocabulary. So the teacher tries to bridge this gap by using visual aids, storytelling, and peer discussions throughout the session. We also can see that the teacher tries to write down all the idioms that they are learning in that session on the blackboard so that the students can really see what they are learning. The last one is the learning context of language learning. The learning context in this video consists of learning styles, social interaction, and motivation. The first is learning styles, which consists of visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners. Visual learners benefit from written idioms on the board, printed paragraphs, and contextual storytelling, which I did mention about it just now. The teacher write down all the idioms that they are learning on the blackboard. For the auditory learners, they engage well with verbal repetition and pronunciation drills which the teacher employs throughout the lesson. For example, while explaining in hot water, she repeatedly asks students what happens if you don't complete your homework, or many questions that guide them to deduce what the phrase actually means. And now the last one is kinesthetic learners, where the students actively participate in group skits, acting out idioms to make learning interactive and experiential, according to Oluwaseyi Oladale 2024. The next one is social interaction. The teacher in this video fosters collaborative learning by assigning group skits where students enact idioms in real-world scenarios. One skit, a student receives a high grade and their friend tells them, "You are the apple of my eye." The teacher came out with an example scenario to introduce that idiom to the students. Also, the teacher used teacher-guided conversations further to promote engagement. The teacher asked thought-provoking questions such as, is there really an apple in the eye? Or would you actually give your hand to someone? Prompting the students to think more and deduce the meaning of that idioms rather than just memorizing their definitions randomly. The last one is motivation. The level of motivation among students also plays a prominent role in their learning process. According to the research by Filgona 2020, motivation influences the learning tasks students choose. The amount of time and effort they put into them, their determination to keep going, and how they handle challenges during their learning process. Students who are genuinely interested in learning English or see its value for their future tend to participate more and learn better. In the video, we can see that many students are really eager and very enthusiastic, actively participating in discussions, responding to questions by raising their hands and engaging in activities such as making their own sentences with idioms. For example, when the teacher asked to use piece of cake in a sentence, a student confidently said, "My homework is a piece of cake," showing that they really understood that meaning and they could use it correctly in various contexts.
You think of a job which is very easy for you.
The homework is piece of cake first.
Very good. Please clap everybody. Today's homework is a piece of cake for me. Maybe the
This really we can see that this really illustrates the level of the students' motivation in learning English in classroom. So to conclude, language context, this video covers linguistic distance, native language proficiency, and prior exposure to English under language context, individual differences, identity, cognitive abilities, and home exposure under learner context, individual identity, cognitive abilities, and home exposure under learner context, and so on. So that's all from me. Thank you.